Hello everyone, and welcome to another Your Next Stamp video. Today I'm playing with trash can monsters and their coordinating dies, some slime splats, and a trash can die. Often I doodle a hieroglyphic like drawing of maybe a card design, and so I've got an idea of what I kind of want this to look like. I've got a piece of Ranger Distress watercolor paper and some paper masking tape. This kind of tape it's like paper bag feeling, but it's only sticky on about half of the back, okay, if you can kind of tell. So I'm gonna use some Distress Oxide inks. These are my favorite, for real. These are my favorite. I don't really reach for anything else anymore. I've got the Nuvo blender brush and I'm blending very lightly hickory smoke around the top portion of my background. And then I'm carefully peeling off that tape. That tape can wreck your paper. So be very, very careful and make sure you take some of the sticky off. So I'm taking black soot for the bottom. I'm trying to do a background for some trash can monsters, so this is what I came up with. I honestly think it turned out perfect. So I'm just arranging a sentiment. This sentiment says, wishing you a gross-tastic birthday. And I'm masking the bottom of the sentiment. Okay, so only the top word, wishing you is exposed, and I'm taking my sponge daubers and my Distress Oxide inks and I'm painting dark like mowed lawn around the bottom and then Twisted Citron at the top of the sentiment. This is highly detailed work. You may not like doing this type of detail stamping, but I do. So I'm continuing on, and I probably stamped each line of the sentiment that I did this way 2 or 3 times. So I could build up a significant amount of ink and make the sentiment pop a little bit more. So each time you do that, the color gets more intense. If you are trying to stamp a sentiment like this, make sure that your paper is nicely flush in the corner, so that you're making sure that you're stamping in the exact same spot every time you close the door of the MISTI. So I've moved my ThermoWeb purple tape and I'm masking the top of the sentiment now. So I've moved on to the last word, birthday, and I feel like I should have stamped this more times because looking at the card now, it's a little hard to read, but I'm also sitting in like a dark room, so don't listen to me. I'm sure all the crafters and card makers can see things about their completed cards that they could have done differently. I'm just sharing my opinions or views with you, and I feel like the birthday could have been stamped another time. Hindsight is always 20/20, but I think it turned out good. So moving on, I'm cutting the purple tape in half because now I want to mask those green words and get to the center word, gross-tastic, and I'm going to stamp that one using black soot. This is a black ink, but if you're looking for a vibrant black sentiment, VersaFine Onyx Black ink is money. But this kind of goes along with that soft theme of the sentiment. So I just reached for the black soot, and I like the way that it turned out. It's very reminiscent of an alley or somewhere where trash cans might be in the city. So I'm also stamping the trash can monster, and I'm using Your Next Stamp black olive ink because I'm going to do some Copic coloring, and this ink is Copic friendly. So I'm using Neenah 110-pound cardstock to stamp him on, and we're going to color him green to match the motif of the card. I am coloring him with Copic markers. Here is the list of Copic markers that you can find on my blog, the Copic color map, but super simple, guys. Red was R24, R22, R21. The green was YG 17, 13, and 11. And then, of course, the eyes, the white shading of the eyes was C1 and C0, and I did use my Copic 0 to blend that out. Super, super duper simple. I didn't even give people the option to skip it because it's so simple you can just sit through it. I did end up in the final photo, I did use Jelly Roll Stardust on the spots of his skin, just to give them a little bit of sparkle. But I didn't even use my colored pencils because I've been doing that, and I just realized that I didn't even go back in and define the shadows. That's another thing I would have done. So anyway, with my snack, I'm going to use the coordinating dies and the Your Next Stamp die snips to cut out my silly trash can monster. You guys, I am loving this big old die cutting machine. Like, I thought that maybe the smaller one was where it's at, but this big one is very luxurious. So I wanted to add some interest to the background, so I grabbed the splats. These are just splats, like gross, disgusting liquids. Something of liquidy substance, and I'm painting them with the same greens that I used on the sentiment, so Mowed Lawn and Twisted Citron. I'm just giving them a little bit of an ombre look, and I'm stamping those in the background and trying to give it a little bit of added dimension. I think it looks fabulous, so I continued on with more gross-tastic slime splats. So I did end up multi-stamping these slime splats as well to build up the color vibrancy. So having the Misty for that really helps, or having some type of stamp positioner. I'm using the Slime Splats die set to cut out this Tonic Studios black sapphire glitter cardstock. I love this stuff. It's so shiny and it's black. I think it was perfect for Trash Can Monster card. So I am doing kind of like an inlay die cutting technique. This is the trash can die by Your Next Stamp, and I cut it out of Lawn Fawn Stormcloud cardstock. And now I'm using copy paper in between the slats. So this die is pretty cool because you can do different colors for the slats of the trash can. I'm using scrapbook.com tape runner adhesive on the copy paper, and I'm just adhering that to make sticky copy paper behind those slats, okay? So that it all sticks together as one trash can piece. So I just took my time to fill the slats back in. You could do this in a lighter gray to give your trash can a little bit of dimension, but I used the surface sweep brush to wipe away any stray cardstock hairs, and Lawn Fawn glue tube liquid adhesive on the back of some of the splats, and then I did pop some of the other splats up with Scotch 3M foam tape. I also used Scotch 3M foam tape on the back of the trash can itself, and then double foam tape on the back of the trash can monster to give him a little bit more dimension. I've also used black craft foam and scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive to adhere my card panel to the card base, which is Simon Says Stamp Fog cardstock. And after using the Teflon bone folder to straighten it out, that's it. That's my card. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really like it. It's very gross-tastic. Follow me, follow Your Next Stamp on social media. Don't forget about the coupon code that is on the screen.